Hello, and in today's video we are doing Premier League predictions for matchday number 4 of the 2021 to 22 season. That's right, the Premier League is back after the international break. But what, my friends, is the theme of the week? I'm going for deadline day. That's right, the signings got confirmed. The August window slammed shut at 11 o'clock on the 31st of August, and these are the first brand new juicy games of September after that international break. Of course, that Poland game for England, the very unsavoury scenes in the Bulgaria match were just unfortunately repeated in that matchup with Hungary, and how UEFA and FIFA have done absolutely nothing about it because it's not in the Euros, it's a World Cup qualifier. It's just a different competition. They've just been quiet about it, whereas they've not been quiet about what happened and what went on in the Brazil against Argentina game, and that's been had an investigation going into it. So it's all kicking off really, but some good wins in there for England, both 4-0 obviously against Andorra and against Hungary. But these are standard games. You expect England to win, and also for Portugal as well. Massive results. Azerbaijan, great result. Jota looking great. And also a really good win up against Republic of Ireland, coming back from a difficult position. So I'm absolutely loving that. And let's start with my theme of the week, tying in nicely with the song of the week. So because it's signings, my song of the week is by Harry Styles, and it is Sign of the Times. Don't stop your crying, it's a sign of the times. We gotta get away from here. Yes, that is a tune. That will be in the link in the description. But what, my friends, is going to be the phrase of the week? You know it. It's got to be, hasn't it? What a legend that is, of course, Fabrizio Romano. So the phrase of the weekend, in tribute to him, is, of course, here we go. Right, let's get into how we got on in match week 3's predictions. And looking at the predictions league table, it has shaped up quite nicely, I've got to be saying. So we did see that the points predictions were kind of quite varied going into this season, and it was quite tight, to be fair, at the top of the table. If you didn't catch what the points were for the predictions table, I usually put it, if I can remember, into the comment section of that video, but I will also cover it in some of the videos. So yeah, after week 3, the predictions league was looking at a nice 11 points for me and 7 points for the Dugout Football channel. He got a very good predictions in there. The Brentford game, correct result, got to back him for that, and also a very good close enough prediction in the Everton 2-0 against Southampton. And the other thing was that we wanted to see what was the predictions league looking like after week 2, and actually that made it really interesting because it was a very high scoring week for both of us, for the Dugout Football channel and myself. I scored a very good 13 points, but I was matched by the Dugout Football channel with 13, so that meant after week 2, 24 points for me and 20 for the Dugout Football channel. Appreciate FPL Central for his comment. Awesome video. I'm glad you enjoyed it, mate. Can you get your score predictions for this week? Because then you can get involved in that juicy predictions league. And, of course, what we all want to know, how is it looking after week 3? And I'm a bit surprised by this, but I can confirm we're still in the lead. Get in. We scored 9 points last week. Not bad, but ultimately not great at all. Certainly would be looking for a much better prediction week. We did at least get one correct goal difference in the matchup between, not goal difference, scoreline in the Wolves-Manchester United game, but we didn't get that correct scoreline in the week 2 fixtures. So at least we've got 2 correct scores to kind of go into this new month. But yeah, not bad. A correct result in the City game, correct result in the Leicester game, and on also the Spurs game. But it is what it is. We finish on 9 points. That leaves us on 33. And Douglas, you scored 6 points this week. Some decent predictions in there. You predicted a solid win for Man City. That, of course, did happen. Villa, unfortunately for you, didn't beat Brentford. And also you went for some Newcastle 2-1 win. That nearly happened if it wasn't for the unfortunate foul from Jamal Lascelles on the ex-Toon player, of course, that is Adam Armstrong. Very close with the Leicester game. You said 2-0. 2-0 West Ham as well is what you said, but Palace pegged them back twice. You went for a 2-0 Leeds win. That was 1-1. And also you went with a 2-1 Manchester United dub. So no correct scores for you, I'm afraid, this week, Douglas. But it does mean 6 points makes you up to 26. So going into week 4, then, the gap is at 6 points. Or sorry, I should say 7 points, if he can do his maths. But let's get into week 4 then, shall we? And there's a really fascinating round of fixtures to predict in this game week. So let's get cracking. So guys, let me talk about this game week, right? It is very interesting. How are you doing, by the way? If there's one thing I hate about the international break, then it's not having football at the weekend. It's not having the FPL videos. It's not having the prediction videos. And it's not watching the games. And if I'm honest, without any football for, 17 months or whatever it was over COVID, you just want these football fevers to be kicking in. But you kind of just have to play FIFA for some entertainment, and then eventually you get bored. So it was tough, but we've got through it, we've survived it, and the Premier League is back, and we're back on action on Saturday, and it'll be hopefully right where we left off. It's been a really fascinating first 3 weeks of the season, so let's see what the next week, game week 4, will bring, and also what the next 3 game weeks will bring. So here are my predictions for week 4 of the Premier League 2021-22 season. Here we go. It's Palace against Tottenham, a London derby. Now, Palace have had a good performance in their last game against West Ham. They had to come from behind twice after gaining their first point of the season. They'll be fairly happy with that. And they got their first goals, both from Conor Gallagher. And it shows that Palace, they've got a bit of fighting character. Obviously, they need to still gel together with Vieira in charge. And I still think they need more goals. But let's see if that result will give them a spring in their step. They are up against Spurs, who are top of the table, looking confident. Now, Son Heung-min is a doubt for this game. That will be a massive blow. But Harry Kane is back fit. He's back in the team. He needs to get a bit more form into him because although he's staying, that's big for Spurs. And they can't just rely on Harry Kane to get them out of trouble. They need to score more goals if they're really going to take control of games. But you can't say it's not been a bad start for Spurs. Very excellent, efficient. 3 goals in the games, 3 wins and none conceded. So for them to get 9 points out of 9, they've got to be happy with that. They look organised, they look in good shape. But obviously they need to see more goals. And also, can they kind of get these players back from these injuries? So I'm really interested to see this game. I think it will be a tight one because Palace have a great atmosphere at Selhurst. But I think Spurs will win it. And I'm going for a scoreline prediction of Palace 1, Spurs 3. And I think goal scorers here for Palace. I'm going to go for a goal from the forward that goes by the name of Wilfried Zaha. And for Spurs, the goals will come. The equaliser will be from none other than Steven Bergwijn. But then the second goal for Spurs, I'm going for a little bit of Eric Dyer. And the third goal for Tottenham is going to come from Lucas Moura. I think that it's going to be a tight one, but I think Spurs can get the win. Hopefully a bit of an entertaining one because both teams, they haven't been scoring and flying in goals that much, but they also could be really going for it. Now, Arsenal-Norwich, I can't lie, I'm not afraid to say it. I think it's the worst Arsenal team we've seen on a football pitch for about the last 10 years. That seems really harsh, but there's no leaders right now. They've got no spirit. They don't seem to know what they're doing. And losing their first 3 games of the season, not scoring a single goal. Where do Arsenal go from here? I know that it's been Chelsea, Man City, but you've got to take some performance, benefits out of games when you lose. And Arsenal haven't been able to do that. Against Brentford, they were beaten by their better team. They had chances, but they just didn't look that good. They didn't look really that likely to get back in the game. Against Chelsea, they were just really, really inept of creating chances, and when they did, it was too little too late. Really big chance for Rob Holding. And then of course City, that was an embarrassment. Xhaka completely reckless, Arsenal completely inept of a performance, and this is a bit of a 6-pointer. It feels weird to say this. Obviously, confidence is not there for Norwich either. They're not going too well for the first start of the season. They've lost their first 3 games. So these two teams know what losing feels like. But, newly promoted club, they'll have Liverpool, Man City, Leicester in their first few games. It was always going to be tough. But also this is tough because Arsenal's still strong side once their confidence is back. Their quality of players is a big gulf in class. But it's about energy. It's about desire. Who's got the desire to get the 3 points here? And I think it's actually quite hard to predict because of that. And I think anyone can happen. I think Norwich will fancy their chances, but I'm going to go for Arsenal and get the 3 points. And I'm going to say it finishes Arsenal 4. We're going to say 4? Really, that much? Okay, yeah, why not? Arsenal 4, Norwich City 0. And in terms of goal scorers in the game, this is a tough one. I'm not going to lie, people, because Arsenal right now just don't look confident at all. Should we change our prediction? No, let's go to 3-0 Arsenal. We're going with that. The goals from Alex Lacazette. Then we'll go for a bit of Ben White. And the third goal for Arsenal, let's say it is going to be Kieran Tierney. All right, now Brentford v Brighton next. And I'm backing a Brentford win. It's going to be tight. But I think Brentford have been, impressive in their restart to life, their first season in the Premier League. They look like they can take on anyone. And defensively, they've been quite solid. Brighton also have been that. But it wasn't great for them against Everton. And, Brentford will be confident they can just chip away a few more goals. So I'm going to say it could swing either way. But Brentford 1, Brighton 0. I think this will be an entertaining game. I don't know which way, as I said, it will swing. But let's just predict that for now. The goal scorers, it's another tough one because I think that both these teams, Brentford and Brighton, they look like decent starts. And I think they've both put in solid, heart-fought efforts. But it's still very early days. And it will be time will tell to see if Brentford do well. Brighton, obviously, they had a pretty lacklustre game against Everton. They need to be ready for this one because Brentford can cause, I think, a few problems. But a lot of people I've seen going for a draw. They'll want to keep up their momentum, Brentford, and Brighton will want to bounce back. But I'm not going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for 1-0 Brentford. And the goal from coming. Who is it? It is Rico Henry. All right, now we've got the matchup that is between the teams of Leicester City and Man City. And this is a clash of the cities. It's the FA Cup final rebrand, rewind. City are looking good. But obviously the start of the season was worrying. But they still haven't sided forward. And yet they still score goals. Obviously rotation is still going to be a thing. But Torres looks a really good player right now. City look confident. I think Leicester will really make it tough for them. But I still back City. Leicester 1, City 3. And the goals here, I think Man City will score first through Jack Grealish. Leicester equalise through Jamie Vardy, who always seems to score against City. Or it could be the ex-Fox. That is Riyad Mahrez, of course, that gets City second, but I'm not going to say he plays. Instead, the second goal for Manchester City, I think, will come from the forward. You think? No, surely not. Gabriel Jesus is probably not going to play because of Brazil's, fiasco. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Instead, I'm going to say it's Ferran Torres. And then the third goal for City, Raheem Sterling. Now, let's move on to Manchester United, Newcastle. And I mentioned it's deadline day, the theme of the week. And that is because so many players can make their debuts. Dan James for Leeds against the likes of Liverpool. Hwang Hee-chan for Wolves. Maybe against Watford, with certainly Jimenez a doubt after his trip to Mexico. Edouard for Palace against Spurs. Rondon for Everton against Burnley. Cornet perhaps against the mighty Everton, but I don't think he'll play. And of course Tomiyasu for the Gunners, but will he slot straight in against the Canaries? Saul for Chelsea, he was a good signing. Lyanco for Southampton. Cucurella for Brighton. The list is endless, but Ronaldo is the man. Surely he makes his debut. Now, it could be his second debut after coming from the 2006-07 season. He had a great career with Manchester United. He was a legendary player. And, yeah, there's just no other way to say it, really. He's such a baller. And I think it was, around that time he came to the club. His second debut, is against Newcastle for Ronaldo's sake, hopefully. It was Bolton first time. No Cleverson, though, this time. Instead, you've got the likes of Varane and, in midfield, a few problems there because they haven't signed a CDM. But anyway, Manchester United looking strong. Sancho, of course, will be battling for that spot, but he did have a injury, pulled out of the England team, and I think he will be back for Newcastle, but it might be touch and go. And I think that, he's so good at attacking, crossing and assisting. He's got that to his game now. He's the GOAT, really. So he might come on for 30 minutes. He might not even play, or he might, play and get a hat-trick like he did in this, game against Newcastle before. So it's a very interesting one. Ronaldo is amazing. Let's hope for his sake that he keeps on going. But I'm going for a big Man United win, as you'd imagine. Newcastle looking quite leaky. Newcastle to lose 4-0 and Ronaldo to get 2 goals is my prediction. But the other goal for Manchester United in that first half alone, I think will come from none other than Luke Shaw. And then the final goal for Manchester United to seal off the game in style, I'm going for a goal from the defender, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, it's Southampton versus West Ham. I'm backing a West Ham win. I don't know why. It's a tough decision because both these teams look quite good. I say quite good. Southampton, defensively, there's still a problem there. But there's been performances that are steady from the Saints. I think it's a bit of a blurry vision of where they'll finish this season. I think they'll be happy to get some points on the board rather than nothing. But, they could be doing better. I think that West Ham have put in 2 dominant performances against Palace. They didn't play too very well. Not their best they could have, but they still scored good goals. Antonio once again. They just couldn't quite hold on to their leads. So West Ham still look a promising team. They'll be hoping that the Palace game was maybe just a one-off in terms of not getting the result. But I think West Ham can get it here. I think they'll get a narrow win. But the game itself, it doesn't look like it's going to be an exciting one for me. Both two teams, they've got defensive priorities. And Southampton especially, I think, off the back of that result up against the likes of... Manchester United was a good point, I think. But then the game against Newcastle, they really would have wanted to win that game. And they had to survive by getting a point. So I think that the Saints will be a bit conservative just because I think West Ham have got so much threat on the break with Antonio, Ben Rama, Jared Bowen, of course, who scored his first West Ham goal in this fixture at the London Stadium. So I'm backing a West Ham win. I'm saying Southampton 1, West Ham United 2. Southampton to score their goal through none other than Adam Armstrong. He's lethal, let's be honest. And then the goals for West Ham United... this is a tough one, but let's go for a little bit of Antonio once again. And the second goal for West Ham, why not? Cresswell. Now, it's Watford v Wolves, a 50-50 game. I think so. I'm nervous about this one because it's a tough one. Wolves look decent. Now, when I say decent, I mean creation of chances. In terms of finishing them right now, they're pretty wasteful, Wolves. But I think it was a reality check for us against Brighton. The opening day performance against Villa was a fantastic show. And then against Spurs, I think we were unlucky. We played well. I think we're going to need a response to those 2 defeats on the bounce. But the performances have been encouraging. And I think at home, the Vic will be rocking once again. We're going to play, hopefully, on the front foot like we did against Villa. And obviously, on the break, Ismail Assar, Dennis, the link-up is fantastic. They're going to be ones to watch here. And Jimenez, I mentioned... With Mexico, obviously, we don't know he's going to play, but he still was coming back anyway. And also with Wolves, they've got a few problems, I think, in terms of who's going to play there. I think there's a little bit of doubt, but I still think Watford can get the win. Hopefully, Dennis in a 1-0 Hornet victory. Let's move on then to the next matchup, and that is between Chelsea and Villa. And here I'm going for a Chelsea win. I'm going to predict Chelsea 4, Villa 2. I'm not going to say goal scorers, but it's going to be a great game. And watch out for Lukaku if he's fit. Now, Leeds, Liverpool. I'm backing a Liverpool win. I think it's going to be high scoring. Leeds aren't going to be defensively shy. And Liverpool are going to counter-attack on them. 4-1 to the Reds. And finally, Everton 1, Burnley 0. And the final goal scored of the weekend, I think, will be coming from none other than Damari Gray. Catch him if you can. Thanks for watching my Premier League predictions. Get yours down below. And see you later, people.